This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the UK's #1 coral selling website, prestigereef.co.uk and reefdork.etsy.com for all your 3D printed aquarium accessory needs. Hello everyone, welcome to the Prestige Reef Dork show. We've got a really good one today. So this is the Prestige Reef Dork show, episode 100.
Yes, 100. Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very, very special occasion. I haven't had a letter from the Queen yet, but I'm going to check my post on Monday. Okay.
What's more amazing is that we've managed to stay friends through 100 of these now.
I know, yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We'll see what happens tonight because we've got it's you against me now. But so tonight we're going to be doing the top. We're going to be creating a definitive list of the top 10 best fish in the saltwater aquarium hobby. So we've got 10 categories that I've put together, and Ryan and I have chosen 2 fish for each category. And the idea is, so that's one main fish and a backup. So for like if Tangs isn't a category, but if Tangs was a category, I'd say yellow tang. Ryan would say purple tang. And if I said yellow tang and Ryan said yellow tang, I'd be like, no, you've got to go purple tang. And then we put it to a vote, and you people get to choose the best fish for each of these 10 categories. So therefore, we have the best. For a fact, we say there are no facts here. This is for a fact chosen by you people, the 10 best fish in the hobby.
These were some of my favorite episodes that I did with you, mainly because I won most of them. Let's see if I can keep up that winning streak.
This is true, but these are good. I enjoyed these. So yeah, we'll do.
There's one thing you haven't mentioned. There is a rule in place where if one of us says, for example, for the first thing is we're doing algae eaters first. If one of us says yellow tang is now wiped off the rest of the thing. So for the later categories, we can no longer use fish, which has previously been mentioned.
So I couldn't in that situation, I couldn't put yellow tang in the Goby category, for example. So
probably best not to. I mean, sometimes with your fish knowledge, it wouldn't surprise me if you did.
We have a super chat from Brendan who says, must love Melanaris. No Melanaris. Happy 100th anniversary. Thank you very much. So yeah, Melanaris. I do wonder. So that's Wrasse is one of the categories. I do wonder if Ryan's gone for the Melanaris.
Is Wrasse one of the categories?
Yes, number 10. You
can't read that. 1 second. Let me look at your list. What? Oh, I looked at the picture. And when you click a picture, it opens up wider. Yeah, I didn't see the Wrasse bit, but that's fine. I'm sure I can.
So how many categories have you got? You've got 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
All right. I can come up with a Wrasse for the last one.
And JJS says, what if we hate both of your choices? Well, it's a vote, so you've just got to choose the least objectionable option, basically. And so that is then the best.
How does this work? What is it based off of? For example, is it the actual best algae eater, or is it the best algae eater, which is the nicest looking one, or is it, or is it just a free for all?
It's you interpret the question as you want. If you think it's the most effective, then that's it. Then it's the most effective. If you think that there are more important things than just it being effective at eating algae, you do that. So
okay.
If you think price is important,
I will let you go first because we do 1-1, don't we? As in
okay. Well, so we're going to do we'll do member questions first.
Yeah.
So we'll kick off with that. And I really like this question, actually. This is from Skier Sailor Biker Guy, who says, question for debate. Should you ever comment on when people who shouldn't be buying fish are buying fish? So this is in a shop, and he gives an example. He was at Maidenhead Aquatics this weekend, buying some trops for the wife's tank, tropicals. And a family had set up a tank only the day before, didn't understand what kind of fish they could have for a small tank. The staff member, he could still sell the fish, but couldn't get said he could still sell the fish, but he couldn't guarantee anything. I just feel bad for whatever fish they were buying, as I don't feel confident on their survival chances. I presume this is saltwater, because if they were buying tropical fish, I got no idea about anything. But basically, the question is: so if you overhear bad advice or people who are walking into a trap, should you say something?
I tried it; it didn't go well for me.
Yeah,
and then I've sort of left. I know it sounds bad, but to some extent, people don't want to be told.
Nah.
And I've been that person as well myself. I remember being in a shop and then saying, "Don't buy this freshwater pufferfish," and I was like, "I'm going to buy it anyway," and it was a terrible idea. So people they don't really want to be told, but should they be told? In the perfect world, yes.
I don't think there's any harm in saying. If it's the thing is, it'd have to be really bad advice.
Yeah.
Because if it's just common or garden average bad advice,
yeah,
and you're the person who's going to interject, I mean, are you sure that that's wrong? Or do you just think it's wrong because you heard someone else say it, or so if you've got someone who's been in the hobby for a month, for example, and going off saying, "Oh no, you don't want to listen to that," I'm more likely to say, "Mate, it's fine."
You might also get banned from the shop if you a
busybody. But I think if you hear something really bad, then I think it would be fine to say you might not want to do that. That's a really bad idea. But at the end of the day, the best way to learn is for people to make mistakes. So if someone's doing something they shouldn't do, like if someone's saying, "Oh, can I put a yellow tang in a 2-foot tank?" I wouldn't interject with that, because for a start, that's not necessarily an absolute no. It's short term is probably the only thing. But that's the kind of level that I would think, no, don't. You're being a busybody if you're interjecting with that level. But if someone's saying, "Oh, I've just set up a goldfish bowl with tap water and I want to put some clownfish in it," that point I would say you do realise that it's not a freshwater fish. So I think it would be that for me. It's a sliding scale, and I probably wouldn't go really in on it. I'd just say, look, just so you know, this is a bad idea.
There's one that sticks with me, and it was an old guy, and he was probably like 85, and he was buying marine fish, and he was buying a lipstick tang, which clearly was not healthy. And I waited to try. It was in a shop that actually no longer sell marines. I understand why now. But it was covered in like black spots. So there is some sort of disease with tang. I think it's literally called black spot. That anyway, basically he couldn't see the black spots. I don't think that was what the problem was.
Okay. Yeah.
But the staff would have definitely known. It was as clear as anything. But this guy, and I tried to wait to get him on his own, like away from the staff, to go, look, you don't want that, because he wasn't taking it that day. He was coming back the next day to take it home. I wanted to go, look, you don't want to do this, but he was in there for like an hour, and after like that long, I was like, I'm not waiting any longer. It's like
that's a bit more awkward, isn't it? Because if someone's just not getting the right advice.
Yeah,
not everybody who works in a fish shop is going to know everything, and so you can't expect a local fish shop to tell you all of the staff to know everything. So that's different. If they're not quite getting the right advice, that's just to be expected. And if you can then chip in with some extra knowledge, that's great. But if you're actually if they're being given bad advice by someone in the shop, then that's really awkward. So it would have to be. I think I would say something. But I'd have to be absolutely certain that it was really terrible and like harmful advice, because otherwise
it wasn't advice. They were like selling a fish which they should not have been selling. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. Yeah, so they weren't going, "Oh, this is." They just hoping the person didn't notice. So,
which they didn't.
But as I said, it wasn't like 1 or 2 dots. It was covered. So anyway.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm currently deployed away while Reef Factory have gone in there to their situation. I have 3 ICP to deployed away. Sorry, right, RAF. Yeah, I thought there was someone in the chat who was saying they were deployed with Reef Factory, but what he's saying is he's on deployment because he works in the RAF.
Called Wrasse.
Yeah. No, I got that. I think RAF Witcher is a place Is a Royal Air Force base. I just saw that out in the corner of my eye. I was like, oh, hang on. I did see someone asked on the Reef Factory Facebook group this week, when's Reef Factory getting back up and running? Which I think is the poor choice of phrasing, because it's not. It's died. But you get the point he was trying to make. But someone said that there's a rumor that Aquaforest are interested. I've got no idea. This is someone on Facebook said it in the comments. So there's literally don't attach any weight to that whatsoever. That would make sense. A Polish company buying a Polish company.
It's more of the fact that they said they'd honour their ICP test, didn't they?
They've done the ICPs, so yeah. But I think the only reason they did that was because, well, maybe several reasons, but that gets them the side benefits. That gets them a load of ICP customers. So so I don't know if they're doing anything. I've not heard anything on the Reef Factory situation. It's, as far as I'm aware, nothing's happening. But it's these sorts of things happen in the background, and they don't get made public until it happens. So so I don't know. I would guess it's not going to be much longer, but who knows.
I would just assume that you're never going to hear from them again, and then everything will be. then you're not disappointed.
Then you're happy if you do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got so I had I've got the phosphate tester, the smart tester, it stopped working, and they sent me I contacted support, and they sent me a guide on how to fix it, and I just couldn't be bothered with and now. I can't go back because what you're supposed to do is have the back and forwards with them. I just couldn't be bothered to have a chat. I was just like, I'm just going to leave and test myself. And now it's still, well, I've not tried it, but I'm guessing it's still dead. And now I don't have that support. So I might just throw it in the bin or give it away to someone or something.
It's a paperweight now.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, so I think, I think what you're saying is you wouldn't intervene now, Ryan. Is that what you're saying?
Not in this day now, probably not. No, it depends. If the person was on their own, then yes. If the person's literally in the middle of a sale with a shop, probably not. I just think someone said in the comments people need to learn on their own. And to some extent, it's like
completely agree.
It's not my job to police the hobby, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't encourage it, because you get people who think they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and they
giving the wrong advice. So
the hobby breeds people with a god complex. Not everyone, but it definitely does.
Yeah.
And if you get one of those people, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, totally. So I think generally you've just got to let either the person learn or the shop guide them. And if a shop is giving out duff advice all the time, well, they're not going to have long-term customers. Most of the shops, all the shops that I've ever been to, they care about you. They don't want to sell you one fish. They want to sell you a fish every week for the next 10 years, so
that's what keep the ones that survive are those people, because they have that mentality. It's the same with even customer service. When something goes wrong or whatever, you can go, no, it's not my problem, or you can try and deal with it in a different way, and then you can keep that person long term. So
so in terms of that's member questions. There was only one. I'm just going to refresh actually, just in case. There was only one though. So we'll have a quick chat, and I want to get an update on coralauctions.co.uk, and I've only been doing one thing, so I can tell you about that quickly. But what's the latest on coral-auctions.co.uk, right?
Well, the first auction ends in 2 minutes. It is a bleeding.
Does mean you're going to be distracted?
I'm not going to be. I said to myself, I'm not going to keep looking, because it's this is where my mind should be. And last week I was a bit distracted, but no, I'm not going to. There's as I said, there's 240 that are ending this evening. I'd be distracted all the entire live stream, because they're ending every 30 seconds. But yeah, it's everything's gone pretty smoothly. We've had lots and lots of emails from people. We have not replied to all the emails. If we spent all day replying to emails. We have got your feedback. We are looking into it and dealing it. But it definitely is. As I said, there's we get them every day, and a lot of the time, so there are things that other people have also said. Someone just said 999 bids. Not sure what that means.
I've just seen. So on every item, it currently says current bid 999. I know, not on every item. On the top 5 sales.
Why?
Weirdly, I don't know. Maybe someone's bid 999 quid. You'll find out in 2 minutes when when the auction ends.
Oh, I hope no one.
That's good news. 1,000 quid for a Scully. That's very good.
Someone better not be being an absolute
But I think the thing is actually no, I don't know, because one of the requests you got was for someone wanted, because on eBay the way it works is you put in the maximum bid you possibly want, and actually you don't pay that bid, you only pay £1 more than the next highest bid, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if someone's done that, but that's a bold move because you're risking paying £1,000 for a Scully.
Yeah, why does this happen when I'm literally in the middle of the live stream? It's like I've put so much work into this, and then you're right. I don't believe that they haven't done that for any other reason than just
says winning bid is 999. So good news, whoever did that, you've got yourself £1,000 Scully.
Well, what you probably have got yourself is a ban, because I just hope that they don't or just do it. Why is
this could be anything? It could just be a glitch on the website. Who knows? So.
It's not. I can see who's doing it. I can literally see the person doing it. It's the same person on every single one. Yeah.
Is that a mistake then?
I don't think so. You can't be a mistake. They're literally going through and typing it in.
Okay. Do you want to? Anyway. Have you got stuff to attend to? Do you want me to do news whilst you go and deal with that?
I might just put Rachel in charge of like policing, quickly.
All right. Well, in which case, while he's off talking, I'll tell you what shall I do. There's some equipment news, right? So I won't do all of the news, but there's some equipment news. There's a few companies popping up, a couple of companies in particular that sell tanks. One of them is called Neptunian Cube, who you've probably seen around for a little while. They've been knocking around I think they've actually been around for 30 years, but they've been around on my radar in the UK and America for the last year or so. So you might have seen a couple of their tanks popping up. And another one, a Chinese-based company or Chinese company. The other one that I've seen that has come up in, I don't know, more recently than that was this company, which is what they called Ultim Nature Systems. I've got a feeling Parker's Reef has just set up one of these tanks. And let me wind back so you can see the whole tank actually. Oh no, that's just some bloke next to a tank. Here we go. So Ultim Nature Systems is another aquarium manufacturing company that I've noticed in the last couple of months. I don't know if they're new. I don't know if they've been around for ages. But this tank in particular, this is their Peninsula series. And it's just absolutely brilliant. There's loads of little clever features about it. And the reason I wanted to talk about this was because Waterbox, Red Sea and Cade have all been going for years, and so they've got their reputation. Those are the main tanks that people buy, but they've got competition because these guys are bringing out all sorts of little clever upgrades and clever little ideas that make these tanks better. So there was, let me see if I can wind forward to the right part of the video. Anyway, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, but there's the thin weir box, which is the same on the Neptunian Cube tank. And the thin weir box is, in fact, I'm just going to do one other thing. The thin weir box has got, so on the one of the things with the thin weir box is it means you can't have such a thick, what's it called? You can't have such a thick overflow pipe. But they've got two in here, so there's so they can have half the size basically, which allows you to have the thin weir box. And they've got other things in there. Let me just scroll down to my notes and what I've said. Thin overflow, twin drains, fitted cable management. So there's loads of little cable management clips in the cabinet that are all fitted in there already. So your wires are all much neater. There's, which you can see up here at the top of that corner there. Those are the cable management boxes. Sounds like a small thing, and it is, but it's really useful. I like that. And then there's the dry section over here. The sump is acrylic, which I'm less keen on, if I'm honest. But the dry section over here is wicked. It's got this section here on the left-hand side. That is for control boxes. So your control boxes for your MP40s or your return pump or whatever, your lights. And then there's a little cabinet up the top, which is a dry section. That has got a little slidey outy door and just loads of cool little things that just, they're just wicked. They're really clever ideas. And they're innovating, whereas I think it's not fair to say that the big boys don't innovate. They do, but they innovate more slowly, and they bring in more. They're more gradual updates. Whereas I feel like at the moment, Ultim Nature Systems and Neptunian Cube are bringing out loads of really clever ideas. So it's cool. The only difference is with them, they don't have 10 years of reputation, and they're new boys, so who knows what they're going to be like. But that is the news on Ultim Nature Systems. Ryan, what's the latest?
I don't know. I'm assuming the person's watching. So basically, we have their IP address and everything. We know their address. So I'm just like, it's fine, because this is just another thing. It's a learning thing. But it's like, why does someone want to be an absolute? So it's like, this is not just like weeks and weeks of work. This is potential. I'm talking to small shops which are fucking struggling at the moment, who have said that they want to be on this because it gives them a platform to sell more coral to keep them open. And someone decides that they go, you know what, I'm going to try and ruin this for everyone. Now, they're just a troll. And what I would say... Do
you know who it is? Obviously, don't say the name, but have you got a name?
Someone's put it in the chat. I can see who it is, but it's like... you just wonder, like, what is going on in that person's life? Like, that this is their fun. Like, how like small and pathetic that person is. But it just, like, as I said, it just is what it is. And we'll learn a lesson. And we'll go from there. But he's been deleted anyway, and his IP address has been blocked. And Rachel has now removed the sign in, like as a new registration form, just for this hour, because like they need to stop anyone coming back and doing it again. But I just you're right. It does say on the website it's binding. The payment's binding, so it says if you took it to court and won. But I just you just wonder what is wrong with people. It's funny because I don't want to vastly go off the live stream, and you can see that it's annoyed me, and that's probably what they want. It's like you can't imagine these things happening because normal people don't do this. I would never sit there and go, you know what, I'm going to try and ruin this for everyone. So
well, you don't feed trolls, Ryan.
No.
So you and I can talk about him afterwards.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll very rarely do I crack with anything, but it's like this is personal because it's upset Rachel, and that's you upset her, I got a problem. So
it could be a mistake.
It's not a mistake. It isn't. He's doing it on. It wasn't just 3. He's doing every single one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll cross that bridge later.
Very quickly, for the people that that are bidding, all we're going to do is we're going to take the next person down. So if the bid below 999, we'll take that one because I can offer it to the next person down.
That's good. Actually. So eBay does that as well. It's you let the thing is, I never found that worked on eBay. It was called second chance offer, and if the first person pulls out, really annoying. And so you go to the second person. But I always found every time I did that, I'd go to the second person, and they'd be like, "Oh, actually, I've changed my mind." And
no. Look,
but anyway,
it's what it is. It is what it is. But we found a flaw, which is interesting because it's a learning experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, so you've missed out, Ryan, because I've been talking about the latest innovations in fish tanks.
Okay.
Which includes things like cable management.
You're right. I've definitely missed out. People were probably waiting for me to come back, so that we can move on.
There's a couple of you've noticed Neptunian Cube, right? You've heard of them?
Yes.
And there's another company called Ultim Nature Systems. You heard of them?
Yes. No, actually, no, I haven't. No.
So they're both basically new kids on the block, and they're innovating, and they've loads of clever little things on their new tanks. Yeah. Whether they actually all work, or some of them, like the ultra thin weir boxes, they actually might be really frustrating long term. So we'll see how it goes long term. But I just feel like it's the main companies who make aquariums who are established getting shown up a little bit by all these clever innovations.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, to me, it looks like they're coming along and saying, hey, look, these are things that we can do for customers. So, and you're sitting there putting in a filter roller with a removable baffle or whatever,
Yeah.
So anyway, there is more news later, but we're going to kick off with the first. So this is now, I should write down a time, shouldn't I? So I can do a little timestamp. 25. Let's start. This is now the definitive top 10 list of fish for the hobby. All right. The first category is, and if you're watching this, obviously, and there are categories that you think we miss, feel free to suggest any other fish, and we'll talk about them. But the first category is algae eater, and I've specifically said algae eater, not tang, because
I noticed that because you don't like tangs, and you're not going to have a tang probably.
Well, correct. So I've got two, obviously, for each of these, and neither of them are tangs. but you don't just have to limit it to tangs. So, all right, Ryan, what have you got for your?
I said you could go first.
Okay, and here there's probably a reason behind it.
Ready? What's this? Rabbit fish.
Gain some kind of tactical advantage.
It's going to be an orange spot rabbit fish. Ready?
Orange spot. I don't know what. Oh no, I do know what an orange spot rabbit fish is actually. No, it is not.
It's going to be the striped one then.
It is not the striped one.
Oh.
Any more guesses, or should I just?
I doubt it's going to be a fox face, but it could be, I guess.
It's a one spot fox face.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason for the one spot fox face is, first off, they're super peaceful. They're really friendly. They're cool fish. They look wicked. They're bright and yellow. Got black and white face as well, which is quite cool, and got that little spot on the back. They don't get too big. A 3-foot tank is probably pushing it, but I would personally, I have had a small one in a 2-foot tank. It was tiny. It was like an inch long. So short term, I would be okay with them in a small tank, but like in the cage, for example, that's just under 2 feet. There's no way I'd put one in there, to be fair. 3 feet, 4 feet, yeah, no problem. 4 feet, no problem. So they can go in relatively small tanks, completely peaceful. There is a small risk that they will eat corals or peck at corals, more likely when they're older. Same as some tangs like regal tangs, actually. And these are probably more reef safe than regal tangs. But they're completely peaceful, whereas tangs are bullies, bring in white spot.
Firstly, they are not completely
expensive.
Firstly, they're not completely peaceful. And
rabbit
my
fish
choice does not bring in white spot. It's known for being one of the hardiest of tangs, and I'm going to go for a purple tang. The reason I went for a purple tang over a yellow tang is because purple tang is a purple and yellow rather than just all yellow. So I'm going to go for a purple tang. I have one in the coral farm. It eats all sorts of algae, including bubble algae. So what more can you ask? I've already lost Ryan for the win.
I know I'm not going to. I know by not going for a tang. If I'd gone for a yellow or purple tang, I would have had a shot with this. But
I thought you were going to go for yellow tang.
Okay.
I assumed the rabbit fish, but I thought you might go for yellow tang just to be strategic.
So you've gone for a fish that is a complete and utter disease magnet, will bully other fish, will only be suitable for large tanks, and they cost like thousands of pounds. And I've gone for the sensible option. So let's. Just bearing in mind all those things about tangs. Yeah, how much is a purple tang? 200 quid?
I actually don't know how much a purple tang is.
Double the cost of a one spot fox face.
I think a purple tang is like £160.
Live Aquaria, they're $290.
Yeah.
and a one spot fox face was 110.
What are they on a bit?
3 times the price. They're much more aggressive.
Abyss
need a bigger tank
on Abyss, £109. Bloody hell!
How much is a one spot fox face? I just want you to bear all of these things in mind before you click on purple tang. All right.
There you go. 120 for a small one.
I had a purple tang. I did have a purple tang, but I got rid of him because he was bullying my copper band, which is not uncommon because copper bands are quite weedy, aren't they? To be fair.
Yeah, I got a copper band in the water box now. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's in a little acclimation box. That fancy clownfish tried to kill itself because it got stuck between the acclimation box and the glass. And I walked in, I was like, why is there a clownfish up against? And I moved the box and he swam off. And I was like, what are you doing?
Some fish are so stupid. But that fish in particular, I reckon he's inbred. because he's quite feisty, isn't he? He's trying to eat my fish already.
Yeah.
Turns out he's pretty stupid and he's ugly. Apart from that, you're keeping him though, right?
What, the
weird clownfish?
Yeah. He's in the board box now. He's there to stay. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that weird. Also, I got a message from ORA, which is where he came from. I think they sent possibly. There's a couple more of them that might be coming over, but this is a very exclusive fish. So if you want one, it's not going to be easy to get.
You're not going to believe this, Ryan. It's literally 50-50 at the moment.
Is it?
It is. Now I can't end it until if it's 50-50, I can't end it. It needs to be. So I'm going to wait till as soon as it gets to 48% in favor of one person, I'll end it.
Let's put it this way. His fish is yellow and brown or black.
Brown.
Mine is purple and yellow. But
and aggressive.
No, purple tangs are not that aggressive.
Come on.
They're not.
Yeah, they are.
I've never. Well, see, my yellow tang was my purple tang was always the smallest of the tangs, so I've never ever had a problem with it. I do have a big purple tang actually as well, and that one is a little bit more aggressive, I guess. Then
poll. I've ended the poll. I saw it went to 48-52 in favor of the purple tang. In fact,
I thought you were going to say it went in favor of you.
No, it was 51-48, which is why I wanted it to be 2%. So there we go. All close though. But that's so there you go. That is proof that I'm not going to cheat tonight. I'm not just going to wait until it ticks into my favor.
I'm surprised it was that close. I wouldn't have thought Foxfish was that popular.
Completely. What, out of curiosity, what was your second choice? Was it a yellow tang?
Yellow tang was the other. Basically, if you were going to go for a yellow tang, I was going to go for a purple. And if you were going for a purple, I was going to go for a yellow.
Yeah. Well, there was no chance I was going to go a purple tang. My second choice wasn't even a tang. It was a lawnmower blenny.
I thought you might go for that. Or as I said, one of the other rabbit fish.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that was the rabbit fish you went for.
But so actually, they're not my favourites. And I'm just going to make a note, purple tang, of the one that won. They're not my favourites, to be fair. But I think they're the ones that most people are likely to like. They're a bit more like friendly to the masses. People are more likely to like. I think most people will like that. Whereas I think the ones I like are a bit more of an acquired taste.
Yeah, I would agree.
There could have been like a Tumany tang would have been a good shout, to be fair, because they could be smaller. But anyway, I don't
think a Tumany tang would win.
No, probably not. But the other reason I was thinking a lawnmower blenny is because although they're not like voracious algae eaters like tangs or fox faces, if you've got a small tank, they're a really good option, and you just wang in an urchin as well, and then you're not going to have a problem anyway. So
yeah,
happy days. Although I don't have any algae eating fish in the cade, and anyway. No algae problems. All right. Well, that's taken us quite a long time to get through one.
It's all right.
Category number 2. So this is category number 2. Categories number 2 and 3 are character fish. So number 1, character fish number 1. What's your?
This is where my strategy came in, because I know that we will both go for the same fish definitely in this one. That's why you needed to go first last round.
I knew some cheating.
What fish am I going to say? Let's see. That is exactly what I'm going for. A scarlet hawkfish. Because there is no fish that has more character than a scarlet hawkfish other than my other choice.
So you're cheating. I just want it to be noted that Ryan is cheating.
Not cheating.
I just a minute ago I avoided the opportunity. I had the opportunity to cheat. I could have waited till it swung in my favour, and I didn't. And I can't
even see what. Well, let's put it this way: it was probably never going to swing in your favour. So,
what
is your second fish? Because I hope you don't pick my other one, because there's only one other fish which I think might be able to beat that, and it's my other one.
Okay, I see. What's my other one? So I've gone a bit left field. So this is not like you. I don't care. This is genuinely about finding the fish that I think are the coolest. You're extraordinarily competitive, so you want to win. That's your sole.
You're just saying this so that all the people that hate me will be voting for you.
That doesn't work. I've tried that before. It doesn't work. Yeah. But I've gone for and loads of people are saying already blennies. So there's obviously blenny is the main one. Choose a character fish, and for some reason I've decided character fish is all one word, which is not correct. Midas blenny is the character fish that I've gone for as my first character fish. I have a Midas blenny. I've had one before. The reason I like Midas blennies in particular is because they do the little bury themselves into a hole and then swim out and go back in and all this sort of stuff, which is what blennies do, which is the character, which makes them really cool. Proper reef behavior. But also they're bright. They're probably the brightest color apart from maybe a canary blenny, but they're really sociable. So actually they don't just spend their entire lives hiding in caves. They're out and about swimming and like saying hello. Do you want to be friends?
Yeah,
to all the other fish.
But did you say which blenny it was? Sorry, I might have missed it.
Midas.
A Midas blenny. Okay, have you named your Midas blenny?
No.
See, I have a scarlet hawkfish, and a scarlet hawkfish deserves a name, and it's called Gary. Yeah.
I haven't named my scarlet hawkfish either.
Well,
and you didn't name Gary either, in fact.
No, I didn't name him Gary. Rachel named him Gary, to be honest. But yeah. It's just, he just sits there thinking and looking at you. And of all the other fish in the tank, that is the one that stands out to me the most. And if you don't have one, they are worth every penny. And you would agree, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Alex absolutely. Yeah. No, they're wicked. I absolutely love them. That would have been, and that was the first one on my list. So I would have gone for him as well. They're brilliant. They're really cool. I would have both of these, to be honest. Yeah. They're wicked.
I've had a Midas blenny a long time ago. It used to jump over the weir and like live in the tube. So I had the how the weir was set up, where it was like it had like a T-piece on it, and it would live in the T-piece but not go down the weir. And I'm like, why are you like living on the edge? So yeah, I guess they can be quite interesting.
They're really cool. Blennies are awesome. Every tank should have a blenny without question. And the only three, you've got three.
Mm-hmm. Not Midas blennies. I got Pictus, a gold streak, and the Flymo blennies.
Okay.
They're all actually quite different in terms of their character and how they interact with the tank. So in
what way?
The Flymo is actually is the biggest one, but it's the most secretive, and it lives in the hole with just its head sticking out. Rachel says it has a you get like a seafront view. He has a house front view because and then he also has a second hole, which is his holiday home.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Oh, and with regards to the other ones are more free swimming. I find the Pictus and the Gold Streak are more out in the water column more than the
okay.
The
yeah, I like that there's a combination of the two. Actually, I like the idea you've got one that's more secretive and the others that are more sociable.
I probably will add more. I'm not sure which ones. You get all different ranges of blennies. There's a few. Bicolors don't really do it for me, even though they're probably like the nicest ones.
I like them, yeah.
But
so you've got three that are behaving themselves and have been for a while. But do you not worry about putting too many in and getting bickering and fighting?
They don't fight at all. Not once I ever see. And they were in the quarantine tank, which was like a foot.
Okay, altogether interesting.
Yeah, not seen them fight at all, not once.
So I tried putting in. I was potentially going to have two, but my Pictus blenny died, unfortunately. It's quite a small fish, so I think it might have been eaten or chased to death or something. Because that mandarin, that captive bred mandarin I bought, not seen it for a long time.
Really?
So doesn't mean it's dead, but they're not a secretive fish. Mandarins, they're out and about all the time, all day looking for food. So
I'm sure that Sparus Koi didn't get hungry.
No, it definitely wouldn't have been him. No, I'd be amazed.
He's got the only reason I'm saying that is because he's the only one who's got a mouth big enough to eat it.
the two culprits, the two potential culprits.
The hawkfish could have done, yeah.
The hawkfish, particularly the long-nosed hawkfish, and the angelfish, wouldn't necessarily have eaten it, but it might have chased it and been aggressive, and that's what kills fish more than you don't often get fish being eaten in a reef tank, but you do often get fish dying of stress because they're chased by aggressive fish. So
I have actually noticed that the hawkfish is one of the more mean fish in the tank. I don't know if it's the same with you, but I've definitely noticed that he's the one who chases other fish away. He chases my white-tailed coal tang away, and I'm like, they're two entirely different fish.
So I have two hawkfish. I have a scarlet and a long nose.
Yeah,
and the scarlet is they're both generally fine. The long nose every now and then is like a tiny bit aggressive. I'm very sensitive to aggression, right? So if a fish is aggressive, I'm not having it. And and I can tolerate this level of aggression. He'll just like swim after someone and stop and then perch somewhere and then swim after them again. And you can tell that it's like bothering them. But that's it. He doesn't ever get really aggressive. He gives a bit of an introduction. Like, have you ever seen? I bet you haven't. Have you ever seen Shawshank Redemption?
I have actually.
Really?
I watched it because it was like #1 film on IMDb, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
what's the #1 film?
And then and the boys always go fishing on a first night.
It was a long time ago, so I don't remember it. But
well, so he gives him a bit of an introduction, and so every now and then he chases a bit more regularly. But apart from that, like after a couple of days, he's bored. Yeah. So they're both super peaceful. The Falco I used to have 3 together. The Falco was slightly more aggressive than the other 2, but I've never had problems with them in terms of aggression.
There you go. How's the pole looking?
I forgot about that. Bloody hell, it's close again.
Is it?
I'm going to end it now before it goes to 50-50. It's 52% in favour of the Scarlet Hawk.
I'm amazed at how close these are being. Yeah, all you people that voted for Blenny, then go and buy a Scarlet Hawkfish because you need to be educated.
Nah, that one, to be fair, Blenny versus Hawkfish, that's closer. I was surprised the one spot foxfish got so close, but Blennies are amazing, and they're not going to eat your coral, your shrimp.
But if you were going to vote for out of those 2, which would you vote for?
Flame Hawkfish, but that's not like an absolute no-brainer to me. That is close. I get that.
To be fair, even I didn't know that Scarlet Hawkfish were cool until I looked after your one. So I looked after your one. I was like, that is a really cool fish, and then I went and got my own one. But for 17 years, I didn't know that Scarlet Hawkfish were cool. So
you never really had Blennies either, did you?
No, you're right. No, I didn't. Yeah, because you had a the one with the little tufts. It was
the spotted starry Blenny.
Yeah, you're one of those. Yeah, that was cool as well.
He was cool.
That's true. You've I've always said that you have terrible taste in fish, but you have changed my taste in fish. It can't be that bad.
Yeah. I saw something the other day that was, I can't remember what it was, but someone was quite unfairly, it was on Facebook or wherever, Instagram or whatever. Someone was quite unfairly critical of someone else's tank, and they said your fish were boring, mate, or something like that. and because people do often choose the same fish. Right? And so you often get just the same fish, clownfish, royal grammar, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think part of my reasons for fish on this list is that they are a little bit different. I mean, we're talking pressed up against the box, not completely outside of the box, and I think you'll be the same throughout this list. I think so.
I wanted to. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But it's funny because I looked at the water box and I realized that most of the fish in that water box are black and white. I have a gem tang, a convict tang, a female swallowtail. The king eye is mostly black and white with a little bit of like that gold color on the stripes. Yeah. Basically the only colorful fish in there are a yellow tang and a what's the other ones? I can't remember. Oh, the Hulkfish. But yeah, praise. And I have the whitetail tiger, the white tiger goby, which is also black and white. So apparently I have a thing for, and the 2 clownfish, black and white. I have a thing for black and white fish, and without realizing.
That's funny. You haven't got a cardinal? What's the cardinal fish? Banggai cardinal.
Banggai cardinal. No, I don't. It's funny. It was actually Rachel the other day, and she went, "You realize that most of your fish are black and white, don't you?" Because I look at them and go, "Those are cool fish," because like not everyone has those type of fish. But anyone else goes.
Do you know what I just realised? It's actually you who's colourblind.
Yeah.
All along. So I've made a conscious effort to try to choose, because I've had fish stuck in the past. I had on my Peninsula 500 tank, I had some of my fish were a bit boring, and I decided actually there was another. I could never find it again. I saw this one tank on YouTube. It wasn't like a regular uploader, but his or her fish stock, the fish choices were amazing. And after watching that, I was like, I now want the amazing fish. So they've got to be really colourful or really characterful or doing interesting behaviour, that sort of thing. So I've made better choices on my new Red Sea SA50 6-footer than I did on my last 4-foot tank. Anyway, next up is character fish number 2, and this is how important I think characters are. I've got 2 categories for them.
Okay.
I am going to go for, what's it called? Porcupine puffer.
Ah, Oh, that was my one. That was the one thing that I thought would be able to beat.
I really,
I really thought that was the one that I thought would be able to beat the scarlet hawkfish. Oh, okay. So this is good. Yours is going to win now, I assume. Okay, right. This is what I'm going to go for. I'm going for a blue spot jawfish. Yeah.
That was my other choice.
Was it? Because
I can't believe you had that.
Do you want to swap?
No. No, that's really cool.
I should have gone with a boxfish as well. Too late now. I've gone for a blue spot jawfish.
Yeah.
Jawfish have really cool characters, like how they're like secretive, and then they build themselves a little den, and they're just. I'm sorry, I can't. I was all prepared for porcupine pufferfish because I never ever believed you'd say it.
No, I didn't think you'd have blue spotted jawfish, and I literally had the same one. My only hesitation with having blue spotted jawfish on my list was that they don't do well in captivity at all because they're a cold water fish. They never last, and whenever you go research, because they're such a cool fish, I've gone looking them up loads of times before, and they always die. No one ever has success with them long term.
Yeah.
And they're quite expensive, $150 on Live Aquarium, and I'm sure they're that kind of money in pounds, like 150, 200 quid. But jawfish. So you currently have a jawfish for me. You're a yellow-headed jawfish, right?
Yes. Yeah. And
I thought I was sharing the screen. I just realized I wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think have you been sharing any of the ones? I don't think you have.
Shared the last. Did I not? Oh, never mind. I can't remember. I'll watch it back.
You're going for a really thin, like, fish.
73%. Come on.
I know.
Bloody time.
I knew there was no chance I was going to win that one. But
there's so the porcupine puffer they're probably I don't know if they'll eat corals. I wouldn't be surprised if they would do, but they'll definitely eat inverts. But they're just, in terms of character fish, that is just the coolest. Look at his little face, little smiley goggly eyes, and
keep talking for a second. I'm just going to mute you because I need to speak to Rachel for a second. So just keep going. All
right. In which case, I'll talk about. So the other fish that Ryan's got for me is the so he's got the blue spotted jawfish, which is an amazingly cool fish, but they're expensive. And someone just said he's seen them for 300 quid, 230 at Abyss, or 300 quid. Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah, that's a lot for a fish that's not going to live as well. But the other, so Ryan's looking after a yellow-headed jawfish for me at the moment, which I'm going to pick up soon. I'm going to be honest with you, this is not the coolest fish in the world. Okay, I really like him because he's got character. I had one in my last tank. Oh, are you back? No, you're not back. I really like him because he's got character, and they dig their little burrows and spit out sand and all this sort of stuff. So he's really cool. But he's not as cool as a blue spotted jawfish, is he? We can all admit that. But the poll I'm going to end because I'm
back now. So.
It was an absolute whitewash. I was just talking about
no, if I was listening, the person. But if anyone wants to know who was the knobhead that was bidding on all those things, he's in the chat. So Les, if you're here, or any person, Mark Martin, get rid of him. Because that's the person who was doing it.
Let's try to bid on some cards.
So, and we've confirmed that is the name that was on the thing.
All right. So, so there we go. He's gone. Jawfish. You're not a fan of the yellow-headed jawfish, it's fair to say.
No, it's not that colourful. But it does have an interesting character. So
yeah.
So yeah,
I saw actually on this. So I'm going to see if this works. My first experiment has failed.
Yeah.
But I've made. I saw the other day there was a video. It's a member, Reef Dork member, Ed. I can't remember his tag, but he's made a video of he's done a DIY jawfish den, and he made it out of little plastic piping basically, and the fish went straight in it. And I was like, that's amazing. So I 3D printed one. And I've sent you one as a tester.
I know, and it's just ignored it.
Wasn't interested.
To be fair, it's in with like probably, 10 other pipes. So, and the ironic thing is it sits outside the pipe, but underneath them. So there's a pipe wedged up against the glass, and it sits underneath the pipe. So the only thing I will say, I think that the hole on it is too big for them, firstly. And like because the fish is probably a third the size of the hole. Probably less than a third the size of the hole. So it probably doesn't feel overly safe, and they need to be like a real quite narrow thing. So it could work, but it might need to be more narrow.
I'm not sure it's that, because it's the one I've seen is roughly the same size, and I think the thing. So when it's in it's just sat on the glass in your tank, but when it's in my tank, I've got one in my sand, and all you can see above the sand is the little hole.
Oh, okay.
Bunker. So I wonder if that might work. But I'll test it and see if it works.
I think
you don't want it to. You want it to be there's enough space in there for him to get, because they dive in head first and then they turn around and stick their head up. So there needs to be enough space for them to turn around. But yeah, maybe he needs a smaller hole.
Yeah, maybe you can let him build his own one. So, but would you have that? Is that? Oh, you've got one in your tank. Did you say? The first one I printed went in that tank. It's awful. Yeah. It's janky as hell, but I think it needs to be obviously covered. If you see what I mean, like the box stuff. So it might look a bit odd.
It looks like a panic room, doesn't it? But
it does. Yeah.
So in the tank, you can't see it. No, you can't see it at all. But all you can see is just the top half a centimeter, just a hole. And I've seen people do it, and it works really well. So that would be really cool. But anyway, so we've now got, that's the third choice done, and that was the puffer, wasn't it? The porky puffer. All right, so there we go. We've now,
Jamie, I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so we've now got 2 character fish and an algae eater. Next up is a centerpiece fish. And I'm just starting to wonder if Ryan's chosen the order as well with this in mind.
No, I didn't. Centerpiece. Ooh. There was a few different ones I could go with for this, and one of the ones that for this one also applies to one of the other categories. But I'm going to go for a regal angel for this one.
Ooh, that's taking that one off my list for later.
Yeah, because it could have been the reef safe one, couldn't it? But yeah,
precaution. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to use it for centerpiece fish for this, and the reason it's great is because it's a pretty big fish. You know, it gets to a good size. So a good centerpiece fish is one that's bigger than the other ones for a start. Yeah, it has nice. You can't really have a centerpiece fish which is tiny.
What if you've got a small tank?
Look, I appreciate what you're saying, and I did think that when I was doing these. But generally speaking, in that way, you can have a candy bacillus as a centerpiece fish in a small tank, but it wouldn't be a centerpiece fish in a big tank.
Yeah.
So I'm going for the big tank, and I'm going to say regal angel because they are mostly reef safe, and a lot of people want to have a big angel in their tank, and that's probably your best choice. So.
Okay. I'm just bringing up a different picture because the live aquarium picture of a regal angel it's a junior and it doesn't look as cool. And I want to be clear, I'm not cheating. Lots of people suggesting emperor angels, flame angels, all this sort of stuff. Do you know what I've gone for? Centerpiece. I'm feeling pretty confident.
With you, I couldn't even guess.
Copper banded butterfly fish.
You want to early? You're going for a fish that basically dies most of the time.
No, hang on. You've got you've figured it out. You always say they're easy.
So they actually are easy if you get the right one. But it takes I get to see. You have to realize I get to see 30 of them at a wholesaler, and I get to pick the best one of 30. Most people get to see 1 or 2 in a fish shop, and then you get the best of 2. So that's how it works.
Because regal anglerfish are a little bit fussy as well, not as fussy as copper bands. But for me, and this is just putting aside the competition for a second, if you want me to name the coolest fish in the hobby, full stop, is a copper band. Just hands down. They're just amazing. They're difficult to keep. They might peck at some of your corals. Although actually, do you know what? I noticed today on your video on Prestige Reef, you've got a copper band in all of your tanks, and you had one that was swimming past all the scollies.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Made me think about putting one in my tank.
Yeah, Joe's funny though. Well, actually, if you want a Scully, there's one that ended for $9.99, didn't it, today? So if you want to do the second bid,
£1,000.
Yeah. What was I going to say? interestingly, so I've got 5 Scullies at the moment, I think.
Mhm.
There's 4 in that tank it's completely fine with. There is one which is a double, it has 2 mouths on it, and it was eating it. And I was like, why is that one different? Now, Christian that has
different
the
color?
It's red. It is a different type. But Christian, who has the massive reef tank with the angelfish in it, which is like a full reef with angels, said that a lot of the time, if you put a coral in which is fully healed, like they're completely fine. And whereas if it's not, if it's like a slight damage or something, all of a sudden it gives off some sort of smell, and it's like that's food for them. So I don't know if that was what it was giving off, because I didn't remove the rest of the Scullies. But
weak animals get picked on by other animals anyway, and a coral is it's the same kind of thing applies, doesn't it? I guess, but I don't know.
But yeah, they're all well behaved. The honest answer, the fish I have more trouble with than anything else, are sailfin tangs. Sailfin tangs are worse than any of the copper bands.
Why? For feeding or aggression or what?
With LPS, with eating them.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm not even joking.
I would not have thought that.
They don't.
You mentioned that before, actually.
They don't eat the like they don't actually eat the coral. They just sort of like nip the mucus of it, or they annoy it until it gives off mucus, constantly, and then so and then the corals obviously stay closed. So how's the
50-50?
Is it really?
Honestly, yeah.
It's a tough one. We obviously
51-49. I think you're going to win. I'm going to wait till it gets to 52-48. But but the Regal Angels are really cool. So I had one in my my SPS tank, my Peninsula 500, and that was just such a cool fish. But I noticed that some of my polyps were attracted on some of my corals.
Yeah,
and I'd never seen him pecking at them, but I was like, I don't know if it's him.
Yeah,
but it might be, and I want to remove him because the corals are more important.
Yeah.
And then I removed him, and the coral stayed exactly the same. And I was
like,
damn. And then I wanted him back. But part of the reason I removed him was because I knew at that point I was going to go on and do an LPS tank, and I don't think I'd have one in a full-on LPS tank. It would concern me too much. I think I wouldn't necessarily say absolutely don't do it, but I think it's a risk. Where are we? 41, 50-50 still. Right, there's 64 votes and there's 173 people watching. You need to separate this. I don't mind which way you go, but if you haven't
one
voted,
of you has to be the tiebreaker.
You got to choose Copper Band or Regal Angel because it's 50-50. So at some point I want to. One of the reasons Neptunian Cube has come onto my radar is because they do a 3-foot peninsula tank. Go on.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, out of interest, of those two, which would you pick?
Well, this is where I'm going. So I want a 3-foot peninsula tank in here. I think there's a Red Sea 3-foot peninsula tank, but it's really tall. I don't want a tall tank. That was the one thing I didn't like about my last Red Sea peninsula tank. And the Neptunian Cube one is lower. So if that comes out, which they're saying it will do, if that comes out, I think I'll buy it and I'll put it in here. And if I do get that, it's going to be a soft coral tank, and I'm going to focus on fish more than anything. And I would have a Regal Angel, and I don't think I'd have a Copper Band because I think they would be better. I think 3 foot is a bit small for a Copper Band, whereas a Regal Angel, a captive bred one that's small, he'd outgrow it for sure. Maybe they're both the same, to be fair, but because they're quite secretive.
Well, you can usually get small. Well, I suppose you can get small Regal Angels as well. I know what you're saying. Interestingly, so you would probably pick the Regal in this, and I would probably pick the Copper Band.
Really?
So it's funny because we could have put our votes in to see if you could break the tiebreaker, and we still keep it the same.
It's the same.
So
and actually, I'm just going to share actually the picture from Live Aquaria. Actually, that's not as bad as I thought. It's just not as cool as the adult. That's what they look like when they're junior. They're so cool.
I don't know if the juveniles are pretty cool.
Yeah, completely. And I love that they change as well. So when you buy it as a junior, it looks different to when it grows out. 52%. Stop. Right, end poll. 52% in favor of the Regal Angel.
Yeah.
51% actually. It changed when I clicked it. Wow. This is close. I'm happy with that. Do you know what? So I like
that's what this should be. Because remember, we're picking the best fish, so it should be close. Because if let's put it this way, if it was if one was like 90%, the other was 10, it can't possibly have been the best fish.
Yeah, exactly. This is very true. Oh, excellent. Okay, so far then, our tank. This is, I don't know, a 4-foot tank, 5-foot tank. We've got a purple tang, a flame hawk, a porcupine puffer, which I'm starting to look at now in question. You wouldn't have one in a reef tank, but it's a cool fish, and a regal angelfish.
Sorry, he's got one in his tank. Christian's got one in his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's got a big porcupine puffer.
That's a massive reef tank as well.
He said the worst fish that he has in the entire tank is not the angels, it's not the porcupine puffer, it's the dogface puffer. That is the worst fish that's in there.
For aggression or eating, or
it will live with some of the corals for years, and then one day just decide to eat them.
Yeah,
like just no rhyme or reason. It just goes. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. And Jammy Jam has spotted YouTube's maths. 47. YouTube thinks 47 plus 51 is 100.
Oh, so you're lying to me, is what you're saying? You're saying you're
no.
It actually is.
This is why I have to wait for it to go to 52.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. It always adds up to 99 or 98, whatever that was. Yeah. It was anyway. Whatever. All right. So we've got a good list so far. Is it your turn or my turn next? Your turn, my turn.
I did went regal angel, so it must be yours. Oh, it's clownfish, isn't it?
Clownfish is the next category. You can't have a reef tank with a clownfish. I think that actually might be a law somewhere in the UK anyway.
I wasn't going to put clownfish in the water box until I saw that special clown. I was not going to do it.
Okay.
So
why not?
I actually don't like them that much. They usually, if they're in an anemone,
the way they look, or
they're just weird. They're like usually they hover in a corner
by the overflow. Yeah,
they hover somewhere doing this because they're like, if they're in an anemone, it's different. Then they're like the coolest fish you can get if they're in an anemone. But if they're not in an anemone and they're just like hanging out by the overflow doing this, then they start breeding. Then they start chasing other fish when they're breeding. It's like, and then they also bite you sometimes. Like I had one that it was in the coral farm where I was frightened to put my hands in because she was such a pain in the ass. So actually it got to the point with I bought some frostbite clowns. I'm trying to find my clown, actually. Annoyingly, I can't. I got some frostbite clowns on my last tank, and they were I'd wanted them for ages because I think they look so cool, but they were just really mean towards me. I'd never had that, and then as soon as I got these snowflake ones, every time I put in my hand in the tank, they'd come and bite me. Yeah,
and it's like, guys, can you just chill out, please? This is not.
You wouldn't put your hands in your tank as much as I put my hands in the coral farm. So like it really did become a problem because it was like I couldn't put my hands in one of the tanks without it literally coming to try and bite me every time.
And it sounds silly because it doesn't hurt. Like
when they make you bleed, it hurts.
That's it. So every now and then mine would draw blood. It doesn't really hurt, but it's still when you put your hand in the tank and you end up flinching. And it did get to the point where it put me off. And it's like
I swear on my life, this happened. I put my hand in the tank. I didn't realize what it was at first. It grabbed me. I pulled my hand out and the fish flew across the room. I swear on my life. And they flew across the room and hit the wall behind me. And then I was like, oh, shit. So I picked it up and put it back in the tank. It was fine.
I'm picturing like a 10-minute fight scene, like Peter Griffin and the chicken from Family Guy.
No, it was very quick, but it for that to happen, it must bite onto you with such enough force to be pulled out of the tank.
I am not letting go. You need to die now.
Yeah.
All right. So the fish I'm going for is a Da Vinci clownfish.
I knew you'd do that.
So my second choice, I was really tempted, but just every time I go looking for a new clownfish, I look for all the other fancy ones because I do like the fancy clownfish. I do like the common perks and all that as well. But every time I look for a different fancy clownfish, I always come back to. You'll see like 20 of them in the shop in a row, and the Da Vinci is always the coolest to me.
I'm going to go for one that's very different then, because I had two choices. One of them was a Picasso clown, but the other one I'm going for which is my actual official one, are black storms. So I can go for one that is totally opposite to because yours are orange and white, aren't
Black
they?
and white fish. What a surprise!
Yeah, but they look like little cows. Do you know? I bet the first time you saw them, I bet you went, that looks like a cool fish, because they look like those black and white cows, don't they?
They do. They look like a Frisian. Yeah. Maybe put them on screen and start the poll. I still prefer the Da Vincis.
I like how you get the best possible picture of a Da Vinci.
I've just given like 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Is that a good one? No, I don't know. When is that? That's a good one. That's a good one. Is that a good one, do you think?
Yeah, that's fine. I like how you showed all the bad ones first. But
I promise you, I'm not trying to cheat on this. That's a good one, actually. There we go. Let's do the full page on that. It'll just load in a sec. But so I do like them, but that's come down quite a lot, actually. 300 quid. When Aaron's Aquarium had one when they first came out, and I'm sure he paid 800 quid for a pair.
I don't think they're 300 quid anymore. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're not. Yeah, I'm sure they've come down in price.
Da Vinci. So I've done a this week. I don't think I didn't tell you what I've been up to this week, have I? I've done a actually for the first time, I've got you get, if you're a Reef Dork member, you get to watch the video in advance before anybody else does. That's like it's one of the few perks you get, basically. For the first time ever, I've uploaded a video a full week before it goes live to everybody, because I've managed to I'm on a fortnightly uploading schedule at the moment, and I had it finished a week early, so I was really pleased with that. But when I did this setup, this tank setup in 24 hours, and I chose the Da Vincis because they were so cool. It was fun, actually, because I took them back to the shop after I'd finished with them, and because I borrowed them, and I went back into the shop today, and I saw two clownfish in the tank, and I was like, oh, they're so cool. And it was the exact ones I'd chosen. I just realised. Yeah. But why do you love the black storms? Because they're like cows.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw them, I was just like, that looks like a cool fish. Yeah. I think I don't know if you're winning or not, but I would assume that you'll probably win this one because orange sort of stands out more than white. I could have maybe gone against you with an orange storm, maybe, but.
Do you know what my other choice? The other fish on my list for this was a common standard clownfish.
That was my other one I thought about as well.
I think that would have been the closest one. It's not even close. So I'm going to end the poll now. It's 64-36, so fairly close. For me, the black storms, even if they were the same price, I wouldn't have them, because I like that extra orange, and the Da Vincis for me, that's like it's got all the beautiful colours that you get in a clownfish. Just it's like a slightly better version. So I don't like the black storm. You lose out on the orange, and they're so expensive. How much? Do you know how much they are now? I've not paid any attention.
I genuinely don't know.
Okay, but there we go. So we now have to add to the list a Da Vinci clownfish. Okay, we've got 4 more categories left. The first one is Goby.
Yes.
So, and I'm interested. You could cheat on this, couldn't you? Because there are loads of fish that get called gobies that aren't gobies.
I already googled it earlier. I was like, is a mandarin a goby? Mandarin is not a goby.
If you went for that, I would disallow it. Okay.
Yes, and if you had gone for it, I was already prepared.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't agree. Don't disagree.
I am going to go. I've got. There's 2 choices for this. I'm going to go for a Yasha goby. I think Yashas are cool. So yeah, I thought let's put it this way, if you had a nano tank, that is a centerpiece fish, a Yasha goby, I would say, for a nano tank.
I would disagree.
There is one other that I would consider going for, but I'm not going to tell you in case you then take that. Did you have Yasha goby?
Did I? I don't think I did. Did I have it? No, I didn't actually. But I do have a Yasha goby. I briefly had Goby, G-O-B-Y. I did briefly have a pair of Yasha gobies.
Yeah.
But hang on a second. Let me just type this in. But one of them died. I don't know what happened. They both seemed perfectly happy, and it was really cool because they were always out together.
Yeah.
And one of them just died.
Do you know if it's the male or female you've got still?
You
can. They're actually pretty.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah.
You could, when they were next to each other, it was obvious. But I'd have to look at the pictures and tell you. But why'd you ask? Just out of
I
curiosity.
just wondered, because if you knew, you could always get another one, but you need to.
Oh, I can find out.
You need to know the difference between them. It's something to do with the fins, I think. They have like these little black bits on their fins.
You can see it's very obvious when you put them next to each other. Yeah. I don't know, when things go wrong like that for me, I just think, you know what, it wasn't meant to be, and I don't tend to do it again, because I feel like I just keep making the same mistake over and over again.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to kill time here because I can't find the bloody fish that got this.
He's quickly trying to Google gobies.
No, where is he? This is crazy. He's not on the list. No, this is like. Hang on a second. That's ridiculous. Right, I'm on Live Aquaria. Live Aquaria, your website is rubbish. I've just decided. It's not as brilliant. But here we go. Right. So the fish I've gone for is, and I'm going to start the poll after I've put up, yellow Watchman Goby. So you're not looking that impressed. No. Yellow Watchman Gobies, for a start, they're cheaper. They're a little bit. Why are you smiling?
Cheaper does not necessarily well, I suppose it could be anything. So we're just going for the best Goby, aren't we?
Basically, but they're also a little bit bigger, because if you've got a small nano tank, Yashi Gobies are great, but in a big tank, a smaller one will get lost.
They're mean.
Whereas hang on. I've got to talk about all the positives first. And also they're super bright. Super bright. Do you think they're mean?
Yeah. Actually, the reason I'm annoyed with them, there is a Goby which pretends to be that Goby.
Yeah.
So you know how there's, like you said, that they're super bright. Yeah. Well, I had one which was super bright and then turned brown. And apparently it's a different species, I believe. I think either it's a different species or it might be a male or female one. But my one was brown after it was bright yellow at first, and then a year later it's brown. And I was like, this is not what you were meant to do. So there's even fish that are, if you might have one of those, you might have an imposter. Why take the risk? Buy a Yashi Goby instead.
Okay. But yeah, they're massive, shocky yellow, really bright. They're really cool. To be honest, the answer is, what was your second choice?
Flaming prawn Goby.
Okay, no, I think that's too niche. My second choice was a blue cheek sand sifter.
Oh, they are terrible. Why would you even recommend that? Why would you suggest that? They are one of the worst fish you can buy, with regards to people buy them and then they slowly watch them starve. I
think they're one of the least bad sand sifting gobies to buy. Or I'm thinking of a diamond goby. I can't remember. Anyway, whatever. No, I agree. I wouldn't actually ever have one of those. But
I always recommend people not to get any sort of sand sifting goby, but just because you're more likely to have trouble than not. Plus, they cover they cover. That's the other thing your Goby does. Covers things in sand. If it's near its hull, it will cover it in sand.
So does yours.
Barely. Mine's like this big. On. Barely. But
the answer to this question, it doesn't matter which one. It's 50-50 again. This is crazy. The answer to this is, I'm glad that we've got this. We're going to have a shrimp Goby out of this, because for a start, that's the third character fish that we've managed to sneak in.
That's the other thing that we've not mentioned. You can get little shrimp to go with them, can't you?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And they stick in. They have little burrows, and the other one that I really like personally is the Wheelers or Randalls. Wheelers, I can't remember. They're both cool. One's red and white and one's orange and white. I can never remember which way around it is, but they're both really cool. Any pistol shrimp, any shrimp Goby that goes with a pistol shrimp are super cool. They burrow. They have a little cave that they'll find. They'll make it themselves. You don't need to make special arrangements for them, but it does help if you do. But they can make their own little cave, and then the shrimp Goby digs all day long. So funnily, the cave, the Yashi Goby in my cave, he'll stick his head out. That's it. That's all I get to see of him. And that's the one thing I don't like about him. The one downstairs with my Wheelers or the Randalls, whichever one it is, Randalls, I think it is, they go halfway across the tank, and the pistol shrimp digs halfway across the tank, all the way to the front, basically.
That's not what I want.
He cleans it. It's brilliant.
I was tempted by a jawfish, and I was like, oh, I don't want the hassle of all the
jawfish. They sit in one spot and that's it. They don't tend to cause too much. Yeah. If you've got corals all over on your sandbed, you might be in trouble. But they tend to. My one. This the worst thing about that yellow-headed jawfish was that he set up base around the back of. You remember it was a peninsula tank up against the wall, and so he set up his base behind the weir box. So the one spot that I literally couldn't see. The only time I can ever see him is if I took the cover off and went over like top down like that.
Yeah,
that absolute bastard. It really pissed me off. But if they get a good spot, they're brilliant.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree. The Randall's ones are the ones where they're orange and white stripes.
Yes, that's what I have. Yeah. And the Wheelers I had before that.
They're red or like pink and white stripes.
Red and red. Yeah.
The Randall ones is way nicer. I would have. Yeah. Oh, you should have definitely gone with the Randall's one over the yellow Goby. But
okay.
Where are we at?
I'm going to end it because it's 52%. Yasha Goby wins.
I'm surprised at how close some of these have been.
Yeah, so they should always be fairly close, but there've been a couple that were like 70-30, and you'd expect them more to be like that. Yeah. But
what was your centerpiece fish again?
Centerpiece was copper band.
Oh yes, sorry, yes, yeah.
Which hang on.
Only because I thought it was copper band, but I thought you would go for one of the other big angels. But
so I'm not going to tell you what my other fish on that list was because it might come in later. True. I can still keep him. All right, so we've done Goby now. We've still got time. Great.
Oh, we got schooling fish for this one.
Well, no. Next is reef safe with caution fish.
Oh, I put them in the wrong order, but okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna play it safe because I'm gonna go for a flame angel.
Oh, this causes a problem, Ryan. I'll explain why. So you've gone for a flame angel.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Flame angels are cool. Enough said. They're like the one fish that basically, like, most people want. I would say, like, you can't look at it and not go, that is a cool fish. So they've got obviously they've got everything going for them. Basically, they're relatively small, so they can go in smaller tanks. They can be okay with regards to coral. That's why it's reef safe with caution. Personally, I think they're worth the risk. I had two of them that were both completely fine. I think they were both completely fine. I had a pair of them. And they've got you can also sex them. And my two used to spawn every night. Every single night without fail, cool. They used to spawn.
What did that look like? Did they swim together or?
It's actually interesting. Like it's not like quite like that. I can't.
Can I interrupt? Because the problem I've got is we'll come back onto the spawning. The problem I've got is that my first choice was a flame angel. My second choice was a regal angel, but we can't have that because otherwise you have two regal angels. What's your second choice?
Well, my other choices, I was like, do I go safe or do I go like absolutely wild? So one of them was a bandit angel. I also had a king eye angel or a gold flake because these are all large angels.
I'm going to go with multi-bar angel in that case because I think most of those are bad choices.
You want a black and white fish, do you? That's like right what I want.
The multi-bar is, I think they're not as cool colours as the flame angel, but they are. I really like the lemon peel angel as well. But those for me, in the flesh in particular, they are such an amazing fish.
Yeah,
I think if anything's got a chance of being a cooler fish than a flame, I think it might be a multi-bar.
You've got like it's on the right of my screen. So the flame angel is like, a creative person, and then the multi-bar is like a business person. you see the two difference in like personalities of them. Yeah.
But sorry, you were talking about spawning.
Oh yeah, sorry. So the male used to like peck underneath the female, is what I remember. I always used to. It was really, really dark. I remember I told people on Ultimate Reef, and they were like, "Nah, it never happened." So I went, you know what? I'm going to film a video, and I filmed it and I posted on there, and they're like, that is what's happening. So I think they were actually bought. There was a company here. What were they called? Some UK Bred, I think is what they were called. They specialized in breeding clownfish. They were like the ORA of here, but it's just not quite this. There's not enough people to make breeding clownfish worthwhile. They did clownfish and seahorses, but they're no longer around. But they bought my flame angels because they were spawning.
Cool.
The way I knew that guy was I used to do anything basically to try to make money from my reef tank. I bought some really expensive clownfish at the time. I used to put they would breed, and I would sell the pot with the eggs to this man who would then raise them. He would come and collect them on the day, and he would pay like 40 quid for a pot, which like I now know he was raising hundreds of pounds of fish, if you see what I mean. So it was worthwhile. But I didn't care because I was never going to raise them.
I think that's a good deal for both of you, to be honest.
Yeah, it was, because there was a risk that they might not survive. But he would come down and he would collect them on the night they were going to hatch, because you can tell because they've got little silver eyes on them, and then he would raise them. And eventually he bought those clownfish, and he also bought the breeding pair of flame age, but they never managed to breed them, managed to raise them. So
it was an absolute whitewash, unsurprisingly. 86% Flame Angel, 13% Multibar, #YouTube Maths. But do me a favor, in the chat, anybody watching this live or afterwards, Flame Angel is the obvious choice. We can all agree with that. That is like an iconic fish for the hobby. What would be your second choice of a dwarf angel? What's your second favorite dwarf angel? Lemon Coral Beauty? Oh, someone asked earlier about what happened to my Moorish idol. I made a video on it, so I bought it, put it in the tank. A week later, it was out because it's just started. It didn't eat any of my corals, but it started scraping at loads of them, and they were like, "What was it scraping?" You'll have to watch the video that I did on it. It said it's called "Watch This Before You Buy a Moorish Idol," and it was scraping at Platygyra maize coral. I think some chalices, the weird ones, the weird ones that you wouldn't think they'd eat because there's not really any flesh on it. If you've ever touched a chalice, there's no meat on it. So, it's weird. So I didn't really understand why he was doing that, but he was doing that on a lot of them. And it was the sort of thing that if I had a massive tank packed full of corals, I might be tempted to risk it because he wasn't destroying them, so they might recover. But a lot of these the tank was 6 months old, so a lot of them were kind of frags or large frags at best, so it was a shame though. So really cool fish, really cool fish. Lemon peel angel, cherub angel, couple for the cherubs, multicolor, okay, but there we go. All right, so we have now a reef safe with caution, which I think is the right outcome now of a regal angel, flame angel. Regal angel and a flame angel, you'd keep those two together, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That wouldn't be a problem for me.
Have you ever kept them together? You must have done at some point. No, you've never had a regal angel, have you?
Yeah, I had a regal angel. I had a big regal angel in my big SPS tank.
Okay. Didn't you have a flame angel in that one as well?
I don't know, because I one point, so I had 7, I think, or 8 dwarf angels all in that tank together, and then one of them, I think it was a coral beauty. One of them started eating corals, and then they all learned to eat coral, and it was like a free for all. So, but they were there for years, wasn't a problem. Then one day, and fish learn from each other. So it's it just, unfortunately, that's the risk with reef safe fish. You have to just get them out if they're no good. With the flame angel though, to catch the flame angel, this is not even exaggeration. I could catch one of them, but I couldn't catch the other one. So I got the first one I caught, I put it in a little container and put that in the fish trap, and that was what got it in there. For some reason, it went straight in. It was like, oh, my girlfriend. Yeah. So that was how I caught them in the end.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. All right, we're going to move on to the next one is schooling fish. Is it me first or you first?
You.
Me. So I was torn on this, and I've ended up going with what I think is the best, what people will see is the best. Actually, if you're asking me what is the best, what the best options are, they're damselfish. So azure damsel, which is the blue one with the yellow stripe underneath it, because they'll mess around with each other, they'll chase each other a little bit, but they're fine. And no fish in the hobby really properly school. So you see this awesome tight shoal in the wild. No fish do that in your tank. They all spread out. It's really bloody annoying. But I think the two. I'm hoping the one that you're going to go for is the second one that I would have chosen.
I'm going for nothing like what you're going for.
Okay, so I'm going to go for the blue-green chromis, which I'm disappointed in myself.
That is a terrible. Like,
it's an awesome fish.
That is a terrible choice.
Why is that terrible?
It just is. It's a terrible choice.
It just is.
They like they're not that attractive. They tried to kill each other. It's just not a good choice. So I'm
going to tell you why it's a brilliant choice.
Okay.
One, because they look cool as hell. they're a little bit unique in terms of
color. If you want to see a cool as hell fish, you wait till you see my one.
2, they're extremely cheap. 3, they're extremely hardy.
Mine's not not those two things.
What have you got? This is an Anthias.
I'm going for a Ventralis Anthias.
I was hoping you'd go for squammies.
No, because I considered going for those because that would be the obvious choice for Anthias. But I just thought one of the fish like when I was thinking about these, I thought I want to pick a fish that people probably don't see that often. And Ventralis Anthias are one of those ones. They are well cool looking.
I can't find them on Live Aquaria.
How are you spelling it?
I'm spelling it correctly, but I'm going to bring them up. Here we go. Okay, so hang on. Ventralis Anthias. Start the poll. Share screen. Boom. There's my little shell. There goes there.
Can we zoom in because you don't need to zoom in on yours, but like
too late. So
look at the one in the hand.
How easy are these to keep, and how expensive are they?
It depends if you're a good fish keeper. So for you, not that easy.
No, it doesn't. These I'm guessing. So the first thing it says these are expert only, which means they're impossible to keep. Does it have a price on these? Are they ridiculous?
I think they are quite expensive, but they are a shoaling fish, and we're not based. Look at how cute it looks.
Yeah,
I mean, if you've got a choice of having a load of fish that will slowly kill each other until you've got 2 massive ugly fish, I had chromis that used to spawn as well, or a pretty fish that
that will kill each other and until there's only 2 left.
I don't know if they'll kill each other, but it will definitely break your wallet because I'm sure they're like £300 each.
Cost. Let's have a look. And bearing in mind you've got to buy a shot at £200. Wow.
There you go.
Per fish. Bloody hell. Okay, it's a cool fish. I'll give you that. It looks cool.
Look, what I would say, that fish worth £200. Your fish not worth £10.
But it's not £200 because you got to buy 10 of them, so it's £2,000.
Oh yeah, it's true.
You buy 10 chromis, it's like £1. So
not anymore.
And anybody can keep chromis. Not anybody can keep Ventralis Anthias. However, unfortunately, we have an uneducated audience, Ryan, because they're going for you.
Well, I was pretty confident in this one. I wasn't sure what you'd go for. I assumed that you'd go for an Anthias. You're not even trying to win this, I don't think.
My second choice was so these are I think my 2 choices were the best in inverted commas, and the other ones were Squamopinus Anthias because they're really cool. Because Ventralis and like Anthias, Queen Anthias, all these sorts of things, they're impossible to keep. So realistically, putting them, they're going on the list because the people have spoken. But that is a terrible choice.
Scribble Anthias was what I was going to go for, but I looked at Scribble Anthias, so I actually put work into this. You're right. I'm really competitive. I actually want to win. It's what was I going to say? So I looked at pictures of Scribbled Anthias, and they're not that like in person. Scribbled Anthias look well nice, but when you look at the pictures on Google, they don't. It's not even remotely like what they actually look like in person. So.
That looks quite cool. Abyss, that's a good photo. That is.
I just think they stand out a lot more. Like they're just. And I knew that you would try and cheat and pick a terrible picture. That's not that. I'm not sure that is. That's not a scribble.
That's what YouTube thinks it is. Okay, they're a square spot. They're cool.
I also saw Borbonius, but I'm not even sure if they're shoaling fish. I'm pretty sure they're not.
People buy them in 1s and 2s, don't they? So
yeah. That's because.
To be fair, you're probably better off not buying a shoal of chromis or Ventralis Anthias because you'll end up with 1.
The only ones what are the those ghost cardinal fish? You want a shoaling fish? That's what you should get. But there was no chance that I was going to say that because I'm in it to win it.
Ghost cardinal fish are just so dull. Like, and I should I say that they look like a freshwater fish? Sorry, I know that's like the snobby saltwater stereotype, but they look boring. They're so dull. I hate them. The best option is so the Ventrilis anthias is going on this, but the best option is damselfish. Probably a Springer's damsel because they're supposedly the most peaceful.
Right.
But, I saw a shoal of black and white striped, what they call 4-bar anthias, on the weekend. They're just so cool, but they're just really aggressive. Really aggressive. But I'd love a tank that with the peninsula tank that I'm gonna at some point I'll set up in here. One of my options was to have like 10, just have a pack full of 4-bar anthias, black and white.
These humbug
damsels. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They're only cool when they're tiny. When they're like 2 inches or a bit bigger, they're like just brutes.
Yeah, they're still cool. Look at that. They're still cool when they get bigger, but they're definitely less cool, and they get quite big from what I understand.
Yeah, and they're like super mean.
Yeah, really mean.
They were actually one of the fish. They were when I very, very first started. They were in the fish shop, and you know how we talk about sometimes fish shops selling things to people they shouldn't necessarily have. Yeah. The owner said to me, I will not sell that to you because I'm like, why have you got it here? He said someone bought them back, but they are awful fish.
It's funny because I saw them at Reef Keeper, Reef Keeper Moss End, and Ed's they put them in the coral tray out of the way. And he says he doesn't have them in his display. He's always wanted them. He doesn't have them in his display tank because people will want to buy them and he won't sell them.
Yeah.
They're so cool though. Just a tank full of them, man. All right, no. that would end up bad, but geez,
they live in an anemone.
6 months. Do they?
Yeah, they live in anemones in the wild.
In fact, no. All the photos I've got here in the wild are just with corals and stuff. I didn't know that.
I'm sure.
I think you're lying. Are you thinking of clownfish, Ryan?
Yeah. No, I'm sure. Humbug damsel. I'm 90% sure. Damsel. We can keep going while I'm googling this.
All right. Well, anyway, so we've got ourselves a shoaling fish, which means we've got 2 more fish left.
They do. Often found in association with sea anemones when juveniles.
There you go. 2 more fish left. I'm actually going to reverse this order because there's a wild card option, and I think it's best if we do that one last. So
change the order so that you get to have the wild card be you're the first person to go on. Yeah, I see what you're doing.
You won't have chosen my wild card, but anyway, a wild card. I think it's so unlikely that we'll have chosen the same one. I've got 2 options, obviously. Hang on, let's wind back. What were your other choices for schooling fish?
My other, I know. Actually, I don't think I got another one. I knew there was no chance you were going to have that.
Oh, okay.
So I literally just picked one because I was like, there is literally not a chance that you'll have to pick that one.
I actually had a whole list.
I thought I was busted then, by the way. I'll explain to you at the end what I noticed earlier that you haven't noticed yet. But
you're cheating again. It's disgraceful. The other so I had a whole list of fish that I had in mind for this list. All of them were damsels, really.
Yeah.
You ever seen Roland's damsels? These guys.
Ugly.
They're black and white, Ryan, right up your street.
Yeah, I know, but just not for me. Ugly.
I think they're really cool. I think they're super cool, and they're relatively peaceful, from what I understand. Mr. Saltwater Tank had a bunch of them.
Did he?
And he wanted he chose them because they are some of the more peaceful damsels.
Yeah.
But they're on my list with azure damsels if I get that peninsula tank. Anyway, right. What was I going to say? Okay, so choose a Wrasse. Hang on a second. What? No, never mind. All right. What's your Wrasse?
Is it my turn to go for? Oh yeah, it's my turn to go first. Yeah. I'm going for a Femininus Wrasse.
Bloody hell, mate! That's a terrible choice.
Why? They look cool looking.
Wrasse. Yeah. How much are they, and how long are they going to live?
We never. Okay. Would you have a Femininus Wrasse?
Not a chance. Absolutely. I'm not even kidding. Not an absolute chance. There are some fish that they're really pretty and they're worth it.
Remember, I didn't do my Wrasse. Like I didn't have one for Wrasse. So I just picked the first one that I thought would do all right.
You might be right. So they're like, is it pretty? Oh my god, yeah, it's stunning.
There you go.
But
you vote for me then.
It is absolutely guaranteed to die.
Not guaranteed. I know someone who has one, so
that's one person in the world. It'll
Yeah.
cost you £7,000 to find out. They are an absolute nightmare. They're a stunning fish, but they're a nightmare. I've gone for something. Naoko was on the list as well. They're so cool. That's the one fish I always say that anytime I get a comment, because like your YouTube app, for the creators app, it just puts the latest comments. It doesn't matter if it was on a video from 10 years ago. It's just at the top. So anytime I get a comment that says, what fish is this, with a timestamp, I don't even need to see what video it is. I'm like, Naoko Wrasse, because everybody loves it, because they do the little swimming at the top and then dive bombing. They're really cool. So I thought about that. But I'm going for, and Ryan's going to tell me I'm boring here, a yellow wrasse.
I mean,
that is the ultimate fish for anybody. This is another fish. There are some fish that every tank should have.
I agree with you.
Why is that funny?
It's funny because it's like putting up a Ferrari versus a Fiat, because one of them's like really, really flashy and got the neon blue stripes and the vivid orange, and the other one's like this just yellow, just the most common fish you get in the hobby. Now, look, I'm on your side. I actually, to some extent, I believe that you should win this one, because
absolutely should.
But in terms of which is a cooler wrasse, and if it's like I'm not sure that's the one I would go for.
So the reason I've gone for yellow wrasse, first off,
I think you will.
I'm sure I will. I'm 60%. Oh, it's relatively close. I think I should do. They're really easy to keep. They're really peaceful. They're super bright color, really bright yellow. They're good for pests. They're swimming. They're active swimmers. They're like £2.50.
Yeah.
They're just.
But mine's like the Ferrari of the wrasse world.
Yeah, but no, I don't want a Ferrari. I want to get to work, Ryan.
When you're voting, do you want to have a Ferrari or do you have a Fiat?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, do you want to have a Ferrari that overheats and breaks down and costs you money?
Yeah, I know, but like when you're in a Ferrari, people look at you. No one looks at you when you're in a Fiat unless it's broken down.
Ironically, I think Ferrari own Fiat, or other way around.
Oh, do they? I didn't know.
It's the same thing, basically. Well, I'm going to cheat for the first time, and I'm going to end the poll because it's getting closer.
How many people voted on that compared to the other ones that people voted?
So 47 on this one, and I think that might be roughly the same as the others. You guys will have to 45. The last one was. So I don't think I've cheated that badly. 38, the one before that, okay. But there are loads of really cool fish. I didn't want to go for something like the fem wrasse because that is a terrible idea for the best fish. It's a cool fish. If it's best looking wrasse, I'm with you, but it's gonna die.
Yeah.
There's some other good ones. Ornate leopard wrasse, coyote wrasse.
I thought about a Potter's wrasse as well, and I think I knew you'd be on my side if I said Potter's wrasse.
100%. You can't get them is the problem.
Yeah.
Because they're Hawaiian. Actually, I did a video that was top 17. What was it? Centerpiece fish or something like that. I can't remember what it was called, but it was something like that. And Potter's wrasse was on there. It's just you can't get them, and you've not been able to get them for years. But they're so cool. In fact, in case you don't know what a Potter's wrasse looks like, Potter's wrasse. That for me is that's a really good shout. As you just can't get them, so what's the point? But let me share my screen. Tell me that's not the coolest fish in the world. So
actually,
cool.
It doesn't actually look that cool. Actually, no, it does there. Yeah.
They're so cool. I love them. I would, they are still going to be difficult because they're macro wrasses, but I would risk that.
Yeah.
And I would treat it like a child, and I would look after it. All right. So we now have, there are a few others. Labuti, your mate from the other week.
Yeah, I picked up one of those the other day, actually. I picked up for one of my customers. It's just coincidence. He hadn't seen the live stream. That was the fish of the week on the live stream. Yeah.
Okay. Peacock wrasse. I actually don't like them that much. I think they're cool.
I like male ones, not the females.
Yeah, but they die. So don't do it. But they're really common. You see them in every time I go into a local fish shop, I'll see a peacock wrasse. Pretty much guaranteed. six line. Sorry, yeah, that's a good shout as well. I mean, he's saying it's a bad idea, but 6 line, if they weren't aggressive, would be cool. Yellowtail chorus wrasse juvenile. What else have we got suggested? Yeah, there are loads of cool wrasses. Lilac pajama wrasse. Don't even know what that looks like, to be honest. Anyway, right, we've got one final category, Ryan, and this is. Oh, actually, what was your other choice for a wrasse? Sorry.
No, I just made it up on the spot, didn't I? So I didn't have another choice.
Oh, did you? Okay. Silver belly was my other.
There would have been probably a few others I'd have picked, but like if I would have done a Melanaris or there's actually loads.
I thought I was going to go for the Melanaris, to be honest.
I wanted to pick. Remember, I'm in this to win it, and you'll see soon because I will reveal, as I said, there's something that you haven't noticed.
What? Tell me now. Go on.
It wouldn't swing the balance, but there is something you haven't noticed.
What haven't I noticed?
I went first twice,
Oh,
and the second time I went first was the Flame Angel one.
Oh, what? You went twice in a row?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
You didn't notice that. I didn't do it on purpose. I think you just said, "What's
I bet you
the
did.
next fish?" Which
right,
means you would have then got the Flame Angel one.
I'm going to go first for this one. I think it's highly unlikely that we've chosen, because wild card is the last one.
Yeah.
I think it's highly unlikely that we will have chosen the same one. What's my second choice? Oh, they're both good. But the first one, wild card, orange spot filefish.
I had that as on my wild card. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Ooh. I'm going to go for a boxfish.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shout.
Because I had a few things. I thought about having mandarin on there, but it's not wild really. But there was no other categories that you could really put it in.
Where did I have mandarin?
It could be Centerpiece somewhere. Fish, I guess.
Centerpiece. It was Centerpiece. Yeah. And the other one I had for this was candy pipefish. Love candy pipefish.
I had a frogfish as well.
Oh God!
I knew I was never going to win with a frogfish, but I just thought like they are wild card fish, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's pull these up then. What was your one? Sorry, yours was the yellow boxfish. I think you might be on for a winner here, to be honest. But I actually, so this is on my potential 3 foot peninsula tank. I might have orange spot filefish, and I might have a yellow boxfish. We'll see. The thing that I really like about orange spot filefish is that you can get them in pairs. You can keep them in pairs.
You can see they're sexually dimorphic, so you can tell the difference between the two of them. But the thing I like about boxfish is they are way cooler than orange spot filefish for a start.
Well, they're cool.
They are one of those fish that has personality as well.
It's close. It's 50-50. They're both, okay. So go on. I love both, to be honest. This is a good final category.
I had a boxfish for years and years and years. And would I recommend them? If you get a good one from someone else, then yes. Would I recommend you go get one yourself? Probably not. As in go get one from the fish shop. There can be a bit. Yeah. Oh, you ordering your beer?
No, I'm actually ordering a bottle of water. Why wouldn't you get one from a local fish shop? Disease?
No, they do come with disease, but there's some fish where it's just you have better success if you get them secondhand because the other person's already done the hard work for you.
Yeah.
People come into the coral farm all the time. They go, that is an absolutely stunning powder blue tang, and the reason. So I got that from someone else. So I could have gone through 4 or 5 other powder blue tangs to get that really, really nice one. But I've had that one probably 8 years now, and it came from someone else who had it for 2 years. So it's been around for a while. So, but those are the sort of fish. Same with convict tangs. People can have real trouble with convict tangs, which that was me one of my algae eating ones. Convict tangs come in with worms quite often, and then you can feed them and they'll eat and eat and eat and eat and they'll just starve. And it's one of the most it does not matter how much you feed them, they still don't survive. But they are one of the best algae eating fish you can get. And I would have had that, but I knew I couldn't win with one because it's black and white.
I'm going to leave. So this is close. It's currently 52% in my favor, but I'm going to let it run because I want it to get the final outcome. But they're both cool. Cowfish, they get quite big, don't they? Boxfish, sorry. And this is what they end up looking like as well, just in case you're thinking.
Oh, they look worse than that.
Do they?
That's like a medium-sized one. They get much worse than that. That's
no, I mean brown. I mean, as in they go.
That's an adult one there.
They lose their color, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But when they're small, they're pretty cool. We saw them at the TMC event, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, you see them all the time, of course, but they're just when they're tiny.
Yeah, they're like, you see them and they're like this, just tiny. And every so often, I'm tempted by one, and I'm like, no, like, what? Like, why? What do I want it for? Like, but then
I'd like you to get one.
You want me to get one?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
They are prone to white spot. That is a problem with them.
Can you quarantine them, or do they not like copper?
I don't know, but they definitely seems like the sort of fish that wouldn't like that.
I wonder if Serious Reefs have done a boxfish episode yet, because they get Elliot on to talk about it. They're brilliant. So again, another plug for Serious Reefs. It's so good. Yeah. It's like £10 a month, and the fish care guides are fantastic. The coral care guides they get Van to do, and there's loads of videos. It's so
Ryan.
It's well worthwhile.
Do you know I almost bought the other day? They had like the best looking Moorish idol I've ever seen. It was like you see Moorish idols and they usually come in there a little bit thin, and sometimes they're a little bit raggedy. They're like the fin, the long fin on them. It was one of the best Moorish idols I've ever seen. And I was like, no, Alex tried this. I am no better than Alex.
The only reason it didn't work for me is because it was a little bit scrapey with my corals.
Yeah.
And I just got a low tolerance for that, basically.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like it's not guaranteed from what I understand.
Yeah.
But were you not tempted? Because it's such a cool fish. I've actually should have had that on my list somewhere. I just realized that could have been in Wildcard. That could have been Reef Safe with Caution.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, that's a cool fish. They're a bit big though. That was the trouble. But I look back at some of the photos I took of that fish and some of the videos. Man, the whole tank looked amazing with the Moorish idol in it. It looks so cool. Actually, that's the point you made about centerpiece fish being bigger. That was a proper centerpiece fish to me.
Yeah.
It looks so cool. Big fish in a tank like that.
I fear of it getting the fin nipped, and then you've got this like half, like and it's just not the same. It's funny because if I know something's not right, it will bother me every single time. And if the angel nips it will nip it forever, and it's just not fair.
Yeah, it stresses you out. The same, yeah. Someone's asking if orange spot filefish are reef safe. If you can find the Elliot from Marine Collectors did a video with BRS. I think maybe they've just done it with Serious Reefs, but I think he did one with BRS. So watch that. The ones I've seen on Ultimate Reef, so I've never had a pair myself. They're very difficult to get feeding, is what people say. Although what Elliot does is he puts a bit of mastic on an acrylic stick, and they think that's a coral, so they want to eat it. So it looks like they're so he thinks they're quite easy to get feeding if you do. That's what you need to do basically. But the ones I've seen, they've pecked at things like they always peck at SPS acro polyps, and some of them peck at LPS polyps. But I'm telling you what I've seen other people say. So I actually I've never had them. But that's why part of the reason if I go for a softy tank, part of the reason would be because that would allow me to have fish like that in there, because I don't think they'd go for softies. So I wouldn't risk it personally. If you're asking, would I risk it in my main tank, my LPS tank? Nah, I wouldn't. But they're so cool. They're so cool. The only other downside of them is that if you have to put a piece of mastic on an acrylic rod and feed them, that's more effort than you want, bearing in mind you've got to do that every day for the rest of their lives. So, and I don't want to end up with too many fish that are really high effort.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do agree.
But there we go. So that means now we have got, I'm going to end the poll. It's finished slightly higher in favour of the orange spot filefish, 54%. Oh, I'm surprised actually. I thought the boxfish was going to win that, to be fair. But pretty good choices.
It's meant to go in the character section, I think.
Yeah, maybe. What was your other one for wildcard?
Mandarin or frogfish.
Oh yeah, you said my one's candy pipefish, which I think I said as well. Okay, so we now have the actual, for a fact, the best 10 fish in the saltwater aquarium hobby. They are purple tang, flame hawkfish, porcupine puffer, which is the one that stands out for me as doesn't have a place on this list.
Yeah.
Regal angel, Da Vinci clownfish, Yashi Goby, flame angel, ventralis anthias, which is the second fish that I think doesn't fit on this list, orange spot foulfish, and a yellow wrasse. And the orange spot foulfish is... Ooh,
it was close. I think it was 5'6".
Was it 5'6"? They're only 10.
Pardon?
They were only 10, so it can't be 5'6". Do you mean 6'4"?
Maybe 6'4" then.
I take your word for it. But yeah, there we go. So Ryan's won again.
I had to keep my crown. I had to, you know, it was important to me. I know it wasn't important to you. I don't have a lot
funny because it genuinely is like this actually matters.
I don't have a lot going on in my life, and this was important to me. And look, to be fair, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. In the old days when we did this like a year ago or whatever, or a couple of years ago, it was like used to be like 6-1, wasn't it?
Ridiculous, yeah, stupid.
So,
my husband is downgrading his tank. Any tips? Yeah, I mean, there's various websites that you can find a new husband, and a kind of husband who wouldn't downgrade his tank. So that's what I would recommend. So yeah. He's now focusing. What do you mean? Any tips? As in, what tips for what tank you should get, or for keeping LPS? What do you mean? Expand your question, and I'll answer. All right. We've still got a couple of features. There's not going to be a Prestige Reef Fish of the Week, of course, because we've just had 25. Is there a Prestige Reef Coral of the Week?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a green Cineria. I never know how to pronounce these, so I know you call them Cineria. No, Cineria.
I always used to call them Cineria, but I think they're Cinerina. I think we discovered that the other week, didn't we?
Yeah. So... yeah, but I thought I'd go for one of these. I mean, it doesn't have to be green. They come in red. There's a red one there as well. The red ones are far rarer. Apparently, you get like 100 green ones to every one red one. No, there's an actual picture. Oh, there's a red one there. What is that crazy? Oh no, that looks like a Cantophilia. Yeah, there's some nice ones. I've seen them in purple. I've seen them in like that sort of color and green. That's an Acantophilia. I don't think that is one. No, that isn't one.
It looks like it. Whatever. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure that's an Acanto.
They're a little. It's kind of on the fence. I can't work out if I like Cinerinas or if I think they're boring.
The reason I picked one is because there's one ending. Oh no, literally just ended. There you go.
One on the auction site.
Yeah, it literally ended that second. Oh, there you go. I just won it. So Reefy Reese just won one. So, but they're a big meaty LPS coral. Which I think cool. There's some corals which have like an impact when you put it in your tank. It's like an instant impact.
Yeah,
like those are one of them. Little frags don't have an instant impact. So I think people get far more attached and far more excited about big meaty LPS corals than they do about like a frag of DG.
This is very true. And so I think, have you had that one for a while? That green one?
No. No, I would say I think I've had it for about 2 weeks.
You had one a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
I was considering it, but it's just green, and for my tank I want something a bit more special. And I was like,
not special enough for you. I hear what you're saying.
The texture.
Sorry, Reese. Sorry, Reese, who just won one.
Sorry, mate. Don't mean to rain on your parade. Like the textures and the patterns and the thickness of it, they're really cool. So yeah, I guess I'll let you have that one. And finally we have the news, Ryan, if I can find the jingle. Here it is. So the good news is I've done the reefing the equipment news earlier, which was basically it's not really news as such. There's nothing new. So I just watched a video from this Alton Nature Systems, and I think they look good. They still got. I think most people would still go for Red Sea Waterbox Cage because they're the established brands, and who knows what all these are they going to work and the tank's going to be okay. So I still think most people would and should buy from the big brands, but they've just got some cool features, and I'd like that to have a knock-on effect with the other manufacturers for them to up their game a little bit. So
I missed the start. What was the cool feature? As in, I know you spoke about
there's
earlier.
just loads. There's the things that you are going to hate, Ryan.
Okay,
There's
don't worry
loads
about
of little things, but like they've got little cable management.
No,
trays
don't care.
built
Move on.
I knew it. And okay, first off, it's hot at the moment, right? Actually, we do this from time to time, and we talk about tank temperatures. My tank, I always say, it's fine. I've nailed cooling. I'm just going to check in on the cave and tell you live because I think it's actually a little bit hot. Hang on. We are sitting at 27.2. That's hot. That tank normally sits at 24. Yeah. And before, the thing is, annoyingly, before this live, you've got a human radiator in here just giving off heat as well. But also, I've because the fans make some noise. They're pretty quiet, but they make some noise. So I've had to turn them down whilst the live stream's on. So I think that's bumped it up a bit because it was 26.9 before. It's getting a little bit hot. Anyway, one piece of news, and it's equipment, but this is weird, so I don't think you'll hate it. You ever seen a drum filter?
Yes, because I've read the Reef Builders article. I didn't read it, I saw it.
So yeah, these are things called tiny. The company's called Tiny Drum Filters. They are not tiny at all. The smallest
I know they look massive.
Smallest one is 3 feet long, but drum filters are, from what I understand, are used in pond and larger facilities, and they're normally enormous. I can't really work out exactly how it works. It sounds weird to me. The way I think it works is that it's a filter roller basically, but it's effectively self-cleaning because it fills up and then it spins round and then the dirty bit gets blasted with a jet of water, and that wastewater then gets washed away, goes into a waste section. So, but I couldn't. If that's right, then you're just.
What's that for? Like, what tank is that? That's not for the average tank.
No, I mean the smallest. There are 3 units. The smallest one is 3 feet long. So and that's the one on the left. It looks so that big one is enormous. So these must be for huge setups, maybe even public aquarium display tanks. I don't know, but these it doesn't say the cost. And if you've got a filter that rinses itself and then gets rid of that water, you don't put that back in the tank, do you? So you'd have to have a waste drain, and then you'd have to replace that with salt water. So it's a very niche item, but it was interesting to see something different. But I think this is funny because that's the display board. That looks really like Fisher Price, doesn't it? But I bet that's bloody expensive. That looks expensive because this looks like a small company that make products that aren't for people who want a sexy box and all these sorts of things. So I don't have the prices for them, but I bet they're bloody expensive.
I'll add them to the list.
But this is I don't think I've cost them any sales. I meant to show you. That's what it looks like spinning. So
I just think, do you need it?
I mean, no one. If you're watching this live stream, the chances of you being the intended target are minimal. So I think most people don't need it, but there we go. There is one other piece of news, and it's nothing to do with equipment, right? Or brown gobies.
Yeah, is this our new rivals?
There's a rival we need to crush. He's in the chat.
How I feel about this.
I know, yeah. So there is a new podcast, new reefing podcast. It is called Reefing Radio. It is available. The first episode is now live on Spotify and wherever else you get your podcast from. It is. I'll show you the guy who. I won't show you who it is, but I'll show you his tank. I'll show you the guy whose tank it is. And if you've watched my channel in the last couple of months, this is one of my more popular videos, and also one of my videos that everyone commented on really nicely. It's the thumbnail in the middle that says "Acan Heaven." That is the guy. That tank is the tank of the guy who runs this, and he runs it with a couple of other guys if you're on Ultimate Reef, they're Fishley Business and Cotswold Reef. But it's those three, and they're just, the idea is that they want a UK reefing podcast. And they're I think they might have guests on these sorts of things, but it's a UK based reefing podcast with fishing corals basically. So if you want that, go and listen to it. The first episode is up. There was some microphone issues, technical issues. I feel your pain, mate. We still have them. We've done 100 of these. So one of the microphones was a little bit crackly, but that will be sorted next time. So go and check it out.
every single time before the live stream starts, I have to be here half an hour early because I can't get the camera on and I can't get the microphone on. It's just the same every time.
It's ridiculous.
I know how to get them on, but how often do you say to me, like, it's not? Your
but even the same with me. So I like all the equipment. The amount of stuff that I've got that you don't see, and I like it all, and I still have issues with it. Even though I've spent time learning how to use it and I watch 1,000 videos on it. Anyway, but yeah, so but it's really good. Genuinely, I've listened to the first episode. It's really good. I would encourage you to go and check it out. Reefing Radio it's not a live stream. It's on it's a podcast, pure podcast. So it's on Spotify and wherever else you get your podcast. Search Reefing Radio. Episode 1 is now live. And good point. There is a 50 quid Prestige Reef gift card up for grabs for listeners. So he swapped you that Gorgonian for
he did.
For
basically whenever you're ready for that, you let me know because I have lots of things I'm thinking about. If you see what I mean at the moment, so if I will basically whenever you want it, tell me who to send it to, and I'll do it. But I'm waiting to hear back from you if you see what I mean. So
there you go. So there is a new podcast, Reefing Radio. Go check it out. And that's the end of the news. It is hot as balls in here, Ryan. So
21 in here.
21 where you are? That's nice.
No, it's not 21. It's probably like 22 or 23. The air conditioning's on.
It's about 27 in here if the tank is anything to go by. So we are going to go and sit in the freezer or something. So huge thank you for watching. Thank you for watching 100 episodes of this. I really appreciate you turning up, and it's brilliant. And yeah, thanks for joining in with the polls. Polls really good fun. Very disappointed to lose, of course, but that's the way it goes. And we won't be back next week.
Oh yeah, I won't be here, will I?
You're going to the Formula One, and I think I'm probably gonna just have a break, have a week off. I might do a last minute one, but I'll probably have a week off. So there won't be one next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Guys. All right. See you later.